Is he usually this calm and chill, or is it because he doesn't have as much sleep?
Yeah, he's usually the more calm one.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
That's how me and my siblings are. I'm the one that's like, ah, and they're all like,
Yeah. Most of the time they say, "Oh, he's always talking," and I'm like, "I just do my job and get it done."
well, let's talk about the job piece. How did you guys, he told me a little bit about how we started the business. How have you like carried it through? Like who does what? Because it's interesting to work with family.
So we pretty much do everything together, if that makes a sense. I started doing home inspections before we started the business, and I guess he noticed how the schedule is a little bit more laid back, and you're not stuck at some place from 9 to 5. And he was working doing AutoCAD stuff, and he's like, "Well, let's go start our own." And Dad was kind of on the. He wanted to do it when he retired, but now that he's retired, he's like, "I don't want to do anything."
Your dad?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah. He wanted to start a home inspection business when he retired, and now
But
he's
instead,
like,
you guys are just doing it for
"Yeah."
him. Yeah. Is he truly retired, or is he like one of those
No,
semi? He's retired.
he's retired.
Okay. Okay. Good.
He fully retired in May, and we thought he might help us out with the condos, but he
He's like, "Nope,
no,
I'll
Y'all
hold
are on your own.
which is fine. I don't mind it.
Yeah.
It's more work for us, which is fine.
Now you said you do some stuff on the side as well. What is the side stuff? Is that construction?
Yep. So we do some handyman stuff during especially during like the winter time when home inspections are slower. We just like to if people have like outlets to fix or pictures to hang up or little things to do here and there. We'll be happy to do that stuff.
or run power to outbuildings and minor upgrades and stuff like that." The thing is, home inspections is our primary business, so our handyman stuff takes second to that.
Yeah.
So we always have to explain to our clients when we're doing those that if we get a home inspection, we're taking the home inspection.
Yeah.
So usually the clients that we get aren't on a strict time frame for when we're doing that kind of work.
Understandable. And right now it's just the two of you.
Yep.
What's our plans for growth? Because I know you said you would like to have a team.
Oh, that'd be great. But yeah, I mean, so I think we're gonna start trying to, I guess, start doing some more marketing. It's been kind of crazy with the whole, with COVID. There's not many agents that are actually, kind of in the office, so it's really hard to like get in front of them. So we're gonna start planning to figure out how to start getting in front of them more and start marketing ourselves so that way we can get more business.
What's the plan so far? Because I can give you some tips right now.
So we've been starting to look into go to open houses on the weekends to get in front of the agents because I also on the side put up commercial real estate signs. Even when I go pick up the signs, there are no realtors in that office. It's literally just the front desk person and then a few office people. I think I've run into one agent there the whole time. I've been doing this for a few months for my brother-in-law, and just trying to get into the office and everything is just because we used to do lunch and learns and new realtor orientations and everything like that, and that was great. But now they're doing everything via what's that video?
Like Zoom or
Yeah, Zoom and all
everything's
that stuff. And
yeah.
everybody's like, "Oh, the meeting's done." Click. I'm not sitting here and listening to anybody
Yeah.
anymore.
Yeah.
So in terms of that, it's getting tough. So that's why we're trying to do the open houses again.
Try to turn directions while we're moving.
So are you guys wanting to do that in terms for more home inspections? Because that's the leg that you're trying to really, or the arm that you're trying to grow. Leg, arm, whichever.
Both.
So is that the piece that you're trying to grow? Is the home inspection or
Yeah.
both?
Well, the home repairs, as I call it, comes second hand to that. It's more like, hey, we've already done this home inspection. We're not trying to mark things for what we did on the home inspection. But they're like, oh, we moved in. Hey, we haven't found anybody to do this. Do you guys want to help us replace some ceiling fans, run new wires, do all that kind of stuff? That's
Smart.
mostly how we get that kind of business. And we're not trying to go hand in hand with that per se, because we don't want to be one of those home inspectors that gets the name that says, oh, you're going to find all this stuff just so you can repair it. That's not what we're there for. We're there to teach them about their house, say, hey, these are the good things, these are the bad things, these are the things that you're going to need to fix in due time.
Yeah.
And that's how we mark them on the report as well.
You know, something that'd be interesting for you guys to do is also because it's kind of entertaining to see you two together because you're super calm and collected and you're like, you know, a little more like energy
Hmm.
for you guys to go through your next home inspection and film it and talk through it as if like all of your home inspection stuff, if you're allowed to, obviously, with the homeowner or seller, whatever,
Hmm.
document all of that to start just getting in front of people. Because I believe that once you get in front of people, it's so much better because they see how you talk, they see how you act, and they're aware that you exist and the fact that you can help them with other needs as well.
Hmm.
Would be great and it'd make it really easy because you guys don't have to think about it. You're already going to be there. You're already going to be doing the work. You just get a nephew or a one of your kids
Hmm.
to follow you around with one of those what are they called, like the little GoPro type
Yeah.
things or a phone,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
just document it all and have you mic'd up,
No, that's a great idea. Yeah.
and just start. Do you guys have social?
Yeah,
Obviously,
that's one
that's
thing.
how I expected.
That's about staying on top of the social media thing. I'm not huge on the social
You
media
don't have to
front.
be. You don't have to be.
Um,
Get a friend or a kid. Like just to post and share stuff. It doesn't have to be pretty.
yeah.
Yeah, we tried to do that, and then we would just like lose like the steam. You know what I mean? Like we would just keep going and going, and then all of a sudden we'll get busy with home inspection, and then we'll just forget about that.
Yeah.
My wife, she was our social media person, and then she got busy with her second, so it just kind of like just got
Yeah.
to figure it out. No, that's a great idea though. To document it, put it on social media, and I think, like you said, just being in front and have people just kind of listen to you would be, a great way for to get more business. Well,
Or rather, even instead of like lunch and learn, you could have a home inspection where you're bringing agents with you and you're educating them. Here's some different things that we look for, and here's some different signs that we can see. Because I
Mhm.
know with my agent, when I was buying my house, he before we had our inspection, he started seeing a lot of the things. Was like, hey, heads up, here's some different things for you to consider before we move into that next stage.
hmm
And so that education that he had was helpful to me as a home buyer.
Yeah, a lot of the agents we've been working with have been saying, "Oh yeah, we've been learning a lot from working with you guys." And I don't mean to badmouth anybody else, but they were like, "You guys really do break it down and teach the clients and the agent what we're looking for, and even with certain things that we're finding, some people will blow a failed thermal seal out of the water when it's really, yes, it's a defective thing on your window, but it's more cosmetic than anything else. And we break it down and we explain it that way. It makes our buyers more at ease with buying the home. And a lot of agents that we've been working with are like, oh, it really is more cosmetic. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, the thermal efficiency you're losing is not very much. It's not very nice to look at.
Is that where the windows get all foggy?
Yeah, they get the fog in
Yeah,
the
I
back.
always wondered about that. Okay.
Yeah, so that's a failed thermal seal. There's a vacuum in between the two panes,
Yeah,
and that's what that thermal seal is. Water's not coming into your house unless that window's actually broken. It's in between the two panes.
got it. See, I thought it was something where you have to replace all the windows.
Mm-mm. So that's the common misconception because I mean, when you buy a house, I mean, depending on the age, there's going to be, issues that come with the house just because of the age of it. And
Yeah.
thermal seals, unfortunately, they just happen over time. And they also depend on if you're, I mean, there's a lot of factors that go into it,
Yeah.
but we try to explain that to to the client. I'll be like, I have 9 failed thermal seals at my house, guess what my wife decided to get rather than the new windows, she wanted new countertops, and
I was
I'm
gonna
probably
say a
gonna
hot tub, but
well, right, hot tub, pool, whatever floats your boat. But there's definitely other priorities than trying to repair your
yeah,
windows because windows is probably the second to being one of the most expensive.
I was
Well, it
gonna say
depends
it's
on
so
the size
expensive.
size of the house, depends on but the most expensive part to replace. But you could even just repair the window if you call like a glass company. They'll charge a couple hundred. I don't know what the rate is now, but they'll charge a couple $100 and they'll fix whatever. If it's just
Needs.
one window or whatever it is, they'll just fix that for a fraction of the cost and replacing the window itself.
What are some other things that you have found that you wish either agents or homeowners knew before buying or selling
That's
their
a really
home?
good question. I'll have to think about that. Do you have anything, Chris?
A lot of the things that I wish we could do were to educate the sellers on giving us adequate space to inspect the major systems, their furnace, their water heaters, their electrical panels.
What do you mean space? Like physical space?
So
Like get out of
physical,
my
so like,
space?
so no, so like, literally and we're not allowed to say anything about code when we're doing the home inspection, but per code, you're supposed to have 3 feet available in front of your electrical panel.
Mm-hmm.
You're supposed to be able to open the door all the way, and I can't tell you how many times I get to the electrical panel. They've either got a complete wood decor covering the whole thing to where I can't access the screws, or they've got all of their personal belongings on top of the electrical panel, or we go to a furnace that has gas heat and you're not supposed to have anything combustible around it and there's nothing but cardboard boxes around it, to where we've then got to ask the agent, because technically we're not supposed to move anything while we're done inspection, to move the items out of the way so that we can properly inspect the furnace and or the water heater
Yeah.
or any of those items as well.
So like physical space, like get it away. That way I can actually inspect it.
And it's good practice not to put anything in front of those items, because you never know when you're going to need to access your electrical panel. You never know when, hey, oh, my heat's not working.
Yeah.
I need to make space for the HVAC guy. And the other thing is, if something does go wrong with your heating and you do have that gas or oil or any kind of combustible material, you don't want anything combustible around there, because then that can also catch on fire if something catastrophic happens.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny. People kind of forget the emergency factor, like in case you have to shut something off, you don't want to have to like move 30 boxes or, your storage bins or whatever. But that's one thing that we try to explain to them too during the home inspection. Hey, you want to keep this space open. If you're going to store some items, that's fine. But, make sure that, it's in a way that you're able to access, your water shut off or, anything, that's important. But yeah, I think he covered that. It's very frustrating when you go into a house and the whole garage is stacked with boxes, and it's like, okay, well, now I can't see anything, and then someone complains, oh, you didn't see the mold behind the wall, and it's like, oh well,
No, it was
there's
covered with 35
right,
boxes.
right. So it's just like the whole
Yeah.
I guess the seller thing.
Yeah.
And the buyers too, I think they just need to not be as scared and just be able to ask whatever questions that they have. We always go in and say that the only stupid question is the one that's not asked. So we always try to have people come with an open mind and don't be scared. Just because you're not sure what to ask, like you're not going to annoy me, by asking a question. If anything, it'll make me feel better, because then you're actually, feeling comfortable, to be able to, hey, what's going on over there? And, what's that? It's kind of cool, because when you start seeing them to unleash, they really kind of open up and they're like, wow, this is awesome. They get really excited about it. So,
Yeah.
and sometimes a poorly set up home, like, sellers, everything's kind of like clustered and everything kind of, that always gives the buyers, oh, what are they trying to hide? So it's always trying to change that dynamic, because, buying a house, that's a very stressful thing, it's usually the biggest investment that people usually buy, so it's very important to make sure that they are understanding what's going on with the house, and that they are comfortable with what they're going to get into.
I remember when I was buying my house, I didn't know what questions to ask. And I think that's a big thing, is like, what questions should I be asking?
Mm-hmm.
So that might be an
Okay.
interesting.
Like a frequently asked question
Yeah.
thing, or something, just to say, hey, these are some of the, something that's frequently asked, and don't feel bad if, you wanted me to elaborate or, anything on that.
Yeah.
It's a
It's
great
like
idea.
you guys created something that was like, whether you work with us or work with another inspector, here's the top 25 questions that you should be asking your home inspector.
Yep. No, that's a great, yeah.
So many things because I know there's so many questions people
There-
have. When they buy this huge, even to this day, I actually asked my agent to come out and help me, because the day I did the inspection, I don't remember 10% of the things the guy went over with me.
Mm-hmm.
And so now we've been on our house for 4 years. I'm like, I don't think I'm maintaining my home the way it needs to be maintained. Like, agent, can you come out and walk through it with me again and point out all those things?
One of the other things we do is, at the end of every home inspection report, we have a maintenance checklist of things to do seasonally
so
around the
good.
house. And I always joke and I always say, hey, if there's one thing you keep from your home inspection report, keep the maintenance checklist.
Yeah.
It's going to tell you, hey, you need to change your filters. Hey, you need to winterize your hose bibs. You need to clean out your gutters and do all
Dry
that
vent,
kind of
all that
stuff.
fun stuff.
And it'd be great also to have like cleaning out your gutters. Whether you do it or you have recommended vendors, like, here's who we recommend to do it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Because that might be able to play into the maintenance part. So,
Okay.
I'm going into the marketing part.
Yeah, no, that's great. That's great.
One of the things is we get in trouble when we recommend people. They say it's a conflict of interest because
Oh, okay. Even if you recommend 3 people?
technically we're not supposed to say
No.
anything. So what I always say
Okay.
is ask your realtor, and if your realtor doesn't have anybody, then I'll recommend someone to your realtor. So that way we're not recommending something directly to the client per se.
Got it.
Once again, it could be we could get a pushback or something, but we're very transparent. We're not we're here to make money, obviously, but we're not here to, make more and more and more money
Correct.
off of it.
Correct.
And we also encourage people too, even after they buy the house, 4 years down the road, if you have any questions or if you want to go over anything, please feel free and give us a call, text, pretty much we're here, we're available for you guys.
Yeah.
If you need a second opinion, because, a lot of people like to, knock walls down, and sometimes you got some of the contractors, well, everyone's trying to save a buck, so you don't know if you're cutting corners or whatever. So we usually try to be there for, someone's life.
That second opinion.
Yep,
Yeah.
exactly.
I like
Exactly.
that. Like the doctors. And that might be like a additional offer guarantee that you guys could put in there. It's like for the next however many years, we will always come out and help, even though you're going to do that anyways. But just visually telling, or not visually, just verbally telling your agents that you work with, like, hey, this is something that we guarantee. If anybody ever has questions, they can always reach out to us, or you can come reach out to me, and I'll come with you to your client's home and go over that stuff again. That's awesome.
Recently, I had a client that bought a house that somebody had smoked in. So I was like, well, they make a product. It's just like bugging your house for bugs, bombing your house, not bugging your house. And he was
I was
like,
going along with it.
he was reading the label. He's like, well, I got to shut everything off. Another thing that we do in the home inspection is we take a picture of all your shutoffs for your gas, your water, and everything else like that. So I was just like,
I wish I had that, because I was like, where the heck is any of these things?
Yep.
yeah. So we have a specific spot for where your main water shutoff is, where your gas shutoffs are, where your exterior hose bib shutoffs are. Now they're buried behind drywall. Obviously, we can't find it because
Yeah.
a part of what we do is we're not allowed to tear apart drywall
Yeah.
and everything like that. But if it's in a spot where there's a ceiling tile or a cutout,
And they have like a little door or something.
we can open those and say, hey, here's where your shutoffs are for here.
Yeah.
And
Which those shouldn't be covered though, right?
Well, on older houses, you'd be surprised.
Because I just didn't know, and they built like a wall or
Well,
something.
people don't like seeing, the turn handle or, the shut off. So they forget that you could get like a little door, a little access door or something that, I mean, it's not as aesthetically pleasing, but it's better than seeing the blue or red handle.
Yeah.
So people just put it behind drywall, and it's normal for older houses. So it's kind of funny. People are like, "Oh, where's my hose bib shut off?" And it's like,
don't
it's
know.
it could be
Somewhere in
close,
the vicinity.
right? It's either where your main water shut off is, or it's close to the vicinity where your hose bibs are.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, if we can't find them there, it's probably close to where the hose bibs and they drywall behind it.
Oh gosh,
Yep. So
that's interesting.
yeah, we're not Superman, we don't have that X-ray vision to, here's everything.
But it's nice that you guys take the pictures as a reference guide for the homeowners. So
Absolutely.
I will say my home inspector did not do that.
We do like to take our pictures, so we also say you kind of have a picture book for your home, in case you want to go back later on and look at it. So
Yeah, no, that's great. That's such a valuable resource to have, that agents can offer their buyers, right? And then for the actual homeowners to have to keep. Okay, so in terms of for fun, what do y'all do for fun besides kids?
a lot of stuff. So I'm into I'm into automotive stuff. So I'm into cars, pretty much anything with wheels and a motor. I have a little side hobby of dirt bikes. I'm fixing them up. We got a farm out in Berryville that we go out and ride, and we have some fun with that. I also like to do woodworking, and then sometimes at night I like to play some video games with my buddies.
Gamer.
Yeah, I play about an hour a night. I'm not too much of I don't play all day like those guys, but I just like to give about an hour and a half of my night, and that's how I kind of unwind. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Awesome. How about you?
I work on cars, and then my stepson, we got him a mini bike, and Scott and I are trying to rebuild a bike for him as well. And then I go out and ride with him and do all that, but I like to tinker on cars and play the video game. I play with my
Y'all
stepson.
play? Oh, so you guys play against each other?
Sometimes.
Sometimes
Okay.
if the times match up, we play together. Most of the time, I play with my stepson. We go and
Nice.
play games together. And then I just like to go to their sports events and just try and help out with whatever I can.
What type of sports do they play?
So my stepson plays football, and then he's trying to get into basketball. And now, because I played baseball my whole life, he's like, maybe I'll get baseball another try. And then
Does it excite you? Because then you can like, yeah. I'm trying to get some excitement out of you. There it is.
Yeah, I get excited when he's like, let's go throw the ball. And I'm like, all right, cool.
Yeah.
I love doing that.
I think I can do
And
that.
then my stepdaughter wants to get into basketball and volleyball, but she does cheerleading.
Okay.
And she likes to do more of the stunting part of it. She enjoys the regular part, but it's kind of getting a little mundane for her. So she's like, oh, I want to try out for the volleyball team. I was like, that's cool. So I'll go out and hit the volleyball with her.
Keeps you in shape. I was going to say, it keeps you active.
Yeah. Yep. Keeps me off the couch.
There we go. When you're not playing video games, you're out there playing baseball, volleyball.
And then we also do our own home repairs. So anything that happens to our house, we always.
Are you guys like renovating your homes or is it just repairing? Or is it a little bit of both?
So a little bit of both.
Okay.
I bought a fixer-upper, kind of like an in-between house to help me fix my credit so I can get something better. So I've been slowly but surely repairing everything inside of there.
Yeah. Is that fun?
For the most part, except for when I find things
Yeah.
that
You
obviously,
weren't
like
expecting.
when I did the inspection, I couldn't find because it was underneath the carpet or behind a wall. You don't really know until you live there.
But now you've got experience that you're going to be able to bring that to your
Oh yeah,
clients.
my whole house was carpeted, and we ripped up the carpet, and half the subfloor was rotted.
Oh,
So the
wow.
only thing that was keeping us up was the joist in between and the carpet.
Oh,
So
my
when I
gosh.
took that up, I was like, cool, now I get to replace all this.
Yeah. And now you have a story to be like, listen, I can't rip up this carpet, but that funky smell might be
Mushy floors.
mushy floors might be due to. Well, it's exciting. I mean, the home flipping. I always wish that we all watch those shows and we're like, I would love to take a fixer upper and like fix it up.
Fix it up and
Yeah.
make it your own kind of a thing, yeah.
But the most expensive part is the labor of like all of the stuff that you're doing.
So if you learn and mess up, you just keep messing up until you got it right, right?
That's
So
right.
if you have that mentality, that's the perfect mentality for a fixer-upper. Now, if you're like, yeah, if I mess up, I need to call a professional, maybe that's not for you because then,
It's a good
you got to
mindset.
learn to mess up. Everyone makes mistakes. So
Yeah. Well, what's something that you feel like has been like a great learning opportunity, aka mess up, that you've dealt with?
So the construction that we used to do back in the day, we worked for a general contractor. He actually was on he was on the HGTV TV shows American Dream Homes or whatever.
Okay.
So he taught us a lot of things, and he was also a professional baseball player. So kind of cool. We were able to relate. So we built bathrooms from the scratch. We've done a lot of stuff. So we've messed up. Building those things. So it's kind of cool because we're able to kind of tell them, yeah, it's okay. You might mess up, but you're able to fix it. A lot of this stuff is repairable. My first time using a ram shot, which is basically like a blank 22 caliber that you shoot nails into concrete. My boss was talking to the client. I was like, all right, I just want to shoot it. And he obviously didn't need to do it, but he's like, no, you don't need to do it. So he came down and yelled at me, so it was just a fun learning experience. Just because I want to do it doesn't necessarily mean you have to do it.
Yeah.
Or make sure that when you're doing plumbing on a finished floor that you completely cover up the primer and glue bottle so that as you're going across the floor, you don't knock it over and now you got to replace this person's floor.
That would be a good thing. You know what? One thing that happened with us, listening to your story, is we were filming a client's, the renovator hired us to come in and show off the space that they were still working on. And so got the camera. I'm over here directing. It wasn't Lil, it was another team member. He's walking, looking at the screen, the screen on the camera, walking. He goes through the second, because we're on the second floor. He goes through, falls through the roof.
Wow.
So his legs are like hanging. It was one of those things that like you want to make sure he's okay, but it was the funniest thing. ever. And of course, it's all documented because it's
First action, live action, right?
yeah, it's scary. Like what can happen when you're doing those renovations when things aren't 100% fixed.
Yeah, that's why we don't walk roofs either. Because the one thing that they say is, if you want to inspect the roof or walk the roof, inspect it before you walk it.
Smart.
Last thing you want to do is, step right in that spot where you didn't see before. Because
That's
there's,
right. Well, and it was marked, obviously, but if you're not looking down, you're not going to see
Yeah,
it.
if you're
Yeah.
just looking at the screen.
That's right.
Or it's like I was in an attic that had a catwalk to the HVAC. And almost all the boards except for one board was properly screwed in. The one board that wasn't, I walked on the edge of it. My foot slipped off, and my foot went straight through their ceiling into their hallway.
So you're like, been there, done
So
that.
they're like, oh, we can see your leg. Is that something happening? I'm like, no, I'll fix your drywall.
Good thing I've got the experience. I got this.
Yeah,
If you could please help me out.
right.
Oh my
Oh,
God.
that's funny.
The stories. All right. So kind of looking into the future. Actually, wait, you didn't answer. Oh, well, kind of. That was your answer, right? Like a crazy learning lesson is inspect it before you
Yeah.
walk it. Looking into the future, where do you guys see your business in the next 10 years? Businesses.
So part of the problem for me is trusting other people.
Really?
So I'm hesitant. So I
Most business
worked for
owners.
another company, and I was a part of the person who was helping train and everything. And you have really good people that you hire, and then you have those not so great people that you hire. So part of me is getting over the whole everything is on me, everything is on Scott, and being able to trust somebody else saying, hey, you need to go out and do this home inspection. So I just got to get over that to when we get enough business to hire other inspectors is
What's going to help you get over that?
I'm not 100% sure. Working for another company, I was able to see what was going on, and being just the two of us, we're able to control. Hey, I messed up. I got to own up to it. Hey, he messed up. He's got to own up to it. If we have an employee, they mess up. We still have to own up to it. So that's part of my thing, and I guess that goes over all the proper training. I guess having a more rigorous training process and having them under our wing longer, I guess, than we would per se want to because we want to make more money.
Yeah.
You're not making money if you're making mistakes. But you can make a couple mistakes, right? But gotta limit the mistakes.
Yeah. Yeah, because your mistakes can be big mistakes too.
Yep. And a lot of things happen too during, the home inspection process. Usually we're the first people in, and there's other people that do the process, and people still live in the house. So you don't know if there's some of those people are a little rough. I've had a situation where, a window was broken, after the home inspection. I like to inspect every home as if it's mine. So I'm going to go through, I'm going to make sure everything's right, because the last thing I want to do is get a phone call from you being very upset as to, for whatever reason. And I hate, it's like a gut, everything goes right down to your gut. And it's like, man, I just hate feeling that way. So we do our best to literally inspect how we would inspect our home. But yeah, I had an instance where a window was broken. The guy called me and says, hey, why didn't you, catch this? I was like, I'm sorry, man, but I'm pretty sure like I would have caught the broken window. And I was like, do you want me to come out and take a look at it? And so I drove out there and we looked at it. I was like, yeah, that definitely wasn't there. I remember this one, but that one was there. But during the final walkthrough, the kid, it's kind of funny. The kid admitted because his mom threw a ball and she broke the window.
Oh,
So it was kind of good because
like,
then
Johnny, why did you say that?
right, exactly, because the kids end up being
Telling
honest,
on
right?
you.
But it's kind of crazy,
Yeah.
So just for expansion, learning how to trust people and then being able to forgive them if people do make mistakes, right? So
Yeah.
don't lash them for it, right? Maybe try to figure out
Minimize the lashings.
right.
Make it into a hopefully not too costly learning process in that same realm. I mean, like he was saying, a lot of the time people are having rent backs now.
Having what? Right.
Rent back.
Rent back. Yeah.
So the person's buying the house, and then for whatever time period, those homeowners are still there. They're still living there.
Like 3-6 months at a time, it could be
They
up
can
to.
still
So
put tension on the water heater they can still make that mistake, lose their grip on something, someone goes through the wall. Like,
Yeah.
oh, you didn't catch that. Well, they lived here.
Yeah.
There's nothing so that's why on your home inspection in the agreement, it tells you we're doing it on the condition of the house today,
Yeah.
not yesterday, not tomorrow, literally the day that we're doing the home inspection.
Yeah.
Things can happen. A bird can fly in your window and break it. That's nothing that we can control.
Yeah.
You can have a high windstorm and knocks a tree over. The tree hits the roof. That's nothing that we can control.
I
So
wonder if, like, on those rent back situations, can you go around and like document the house exactly as is?
That's a very good question. I think Virginia itself is the reason why it's on that fine line. It's a state itself. I'm sure if it was anywhere else, it would be fine. But
Okay. That's what I'd be doing if I were allowed to. Is I'd be
yeah.
like, this is what it looks like before I.
I think a lot of agents will go around and they'll
Okay.
take a video of the home as they're going around to kind of document the
This
condition
is
of
what
the
the
home.
floors look like. This is what the windows look
Yeah,
like.
because you'll see some agents, they'll take pictures and
Yeah.
they'll videotape. If there's like a carpet or something, they'll
Yeah.
lift it up and make sure there's nothing else going on. But
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Interesting.
And that's one of the other things talking about like taking the videos. We also are certified for doing new construction builds. So when you're building a new home, we can do your pre-drywall and your final walkthrough.
Okay.
One of the things that Scott and I always suggest is, hey, if you plan on hanging a TV or hanging a picture or doing anything on these walls, here's your perfect chance to take pictures of what's going on behind the drywall because the drywall's not up yet. So if you want your TV on this wall, take a picture of that wall so you know what's going on behind it. So you're not going to hit any plumbing, any wires, or anything like that. Now,
Smart.
they have guards on your studs where they're supposed to go so that you're not putting your screw into the stud into a plumbing pipe. And we always try to say, hey, if you got your screw and it's not going through, don't get the drill bit.
Yeah.
There's a reason.
Reason why.
The reason that metal piece is there, and it's
Yeah.
to make it so you're not going into a plumbing vent or a water pipe.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I've gotten the hammer out a couple of times where I was like, it's not going through.
You're just like, damn, babe.
Idiot. That is why.
I've had a friend drill into his waste system. And I was like, so why did you get out the drill bit? And he goes, well, the nail didn't go any further. I was like, well, that should have been a
There's a
reason why he
reason.
didn't. And there was water everywhere.
Oh,
And it was poop and pee and all
the
that fun stuff.
that you don't want
Right.
outside of that pipe.
Yep.
Oh man. Oh gosh. Okay.
Lessons learned.
So I like what you said just really quickly about in order to grow and feel comfortable, the training piece. I think that's one thing that a lot of small business owners, including myself, neglect is it takes a lot more training than you think it's going to be for anybody, even if they have experience, to be able to join your team. And the more you focus on the training, whether that's documented training, that's what we do here at the studio now. We document all of our training. That way, before they come in, they watch it and they have a reference guide to go back to. That way, 70% of the knowledge base is there. And then when they come in person, you don't have to spend as much time with them. But they still need to know, how do you act on the job? Like, how do you, what are the mannerisms? How do you talk with people? All of that fun stuff. And especially with you guys, there's no two homes are going to be the same.
Nope.
So you can train them all you want. There will always be something different about every single house that you haven't talked about yet. And
Absolutely.
it's just going to take years of experience to come across 70% of the random stuff that will probably come up in different houses.
And there's still some stuff that comes up where I'm like, wow, I'm scratching my head. And, I haven't run across that. And I've been in the construction realm for half my life, So
Yeah.
it's one of those things, it's always, you're always learning. And I guess the best thing for, home inspectors is always to have that open mind. You're not going to, know a lot about things, right? But you're not going to know everything. So it's okay for you to say, well, I'm not sure. Well, let me look that up or let me go ask around. They're not going to like shame you for, not understanding. I think that's a very misconception where people feel like they have to know everything. So they start like,
Making stuff up.
right.
Yeah.
And it's making more harm than it is good.
Yeah.
Just admit, hey, I'm not sure. I'll go do my research. I'll ask around. And if I don't know, then, go ask a professional, that's,
Yeah.
I'm here to point you in the right direction, so.
Yeah. No, that's good. Awesome. Well, is there any last tips, advice, anything that you want to share with the listeners before we wrap today's episode up?
That's a very good
My
question.
biggest thing is just always ask any questions you have about anything. Don't hesitate. The only thing that when we're on a home inspection, we always say is if we're in the basement, don't ask me about something in the master bedroom. Wait until we get up there. But I mean, we're here to answer any and all questions. If anybody has any questions or comments or concerns about anything, always bring them up to us.
We're always open.
Awesome.
Here for open discussions. I always like to talk home inspections or real estate too. You know,
How does somebody get a hold of you?
you could call us, text us, go on our website. We do have a Facebook and Instagram, but the Facebook's more updated than our Instagram page. And
It's Ridge to Foundation for the business name, ridgetofoundation.com. Our email, phone number, and everything's on the website as well. You can reach out as well.
Awesome. What's the number?
57. Go ahead.
571-207-8519.
Awesome. You guys are going to say that in sync, weren't you? Thank you so much for being our guest today on the All-in-One Show. It was a pleasure learning a little bit about the story. Congratulations on the fresh new baby. I always love the fresh babies. And best of luck in growing your team.
Thank you very much.
Well, thank you for having us, and thank you for having the time and opportunity. This was a great time. I really do appreciate it.
You're so welcome.